Hello and welcome to Rooted in Yard, where I talk about what it's really like living in Jamaica so that you can know what to expect and how to thrive if you are planning to make the move here. And hopefully this works out because as I mentioned in the last video, the power is out. Well, we still don't have power, but the generator's off. My laptop died. My husband's laptop is not working. And I've been having a very hard time trying to figure out a way to get this together. So I'm going to try and film and also look at my script on my phone at the same time. We're going to try and do this. Hopefully it works out. But today I wanted to get into my thoughts on what I think will permanently change about Jamaica after Hurricane Melissa. Today I am going to be talking about the cost of living and the all of the negative aspects that this will have and has already had. And the cost of living thing is really what I was referring to when I said in my previous video that or videos that Jamaica won't be the same, and I don't mean that in a positive way, and I want to talk about that. I also want to preface all of this by saying that again, despite everything I'm going to say and despite all of the other things I have said, I do want to say that I still live here. I still live here, and I anticipate that I will still be living here probably for the rest of my life. We'll see. You know, I'm going to say the rest of my life because I think that me living in Jamaica is my best bet for survival and fulfillment. But as I said, we'll see. You know, things can change, but, you know, I never say never, things can always change. But I anticipate being here despite all of this. And again, shout out to Kia McLean. Apologize if I'm not saying your name correctly, but Kia McLean 8590 for this video idea, for this video topic idea. I really appreciate that you and others want to hear my thoughts on things like all of this, and that, you know, others feel the same, that they'd like to hear my thoughts. And I do want to say I am very grateful for you all being here and being interested in what I have to say. Okay, so getting into it, and excuse my hand, I'm just like scrolling through my script as I'm filming this. But getting into it, the biggest thing that I think will impact everything or many things here as to why Jamaica won't ever be the same is the cost of living. And what I mean is it increasing significantly, as it has done already. I don't see it going down, and that is going to have some really negative impacts in different areas. So just to illustrate my point about cost of living and like cost of living things raising, I just want to talk about some of the things I've seen already and that I have observed here immediately after Hurricane Melissa. So there were significant increases in market or grocery items. Not everything, but in a lot of things that people really needed, like produce. Okay, sweet peppers selling for like 3,000 Jamaican dollars or 6,000 Jamaican dollars a pound, something like that. Scotch bonnet selling for like 3,000 Jamaican dollars a pound. People having to buy slices of things because they can no longer afford the whole item. There was an immediate increase in generator prices by like a minimum of 100%. I think the generator prices may have gone down now a bit. Yeah, they may have gone down a bit now because a lot more people have light, but there's still a lot of people who don't. So, but the whole point is the generator prices increased exponentially, like immediately after. Other things are like items being stolen and then sold back at a higher cost. Then there's items being bought and then being sold back for like 50 to 100% higher than the original price. Then there are like taxi prices raising between 200 and 300%, really for no other reason other than they could. Now, I will say that Jamaica has cracked down on at least the taxi thing. That is something that Jamaica has done, because when I say taxi, I'm not talking like the regular taxi that you would see in Canada or the US or the UK or like Uber or something. Taxi is the like public transport of Jamaica. Like, you know how like everybody, a bunch of people get on a bus and go somewhere, or on a train and go somewhere? Yeah, well, Jamaica has taxi. So you go into one, it's cheap, you know, it's less than like 200 Jamaican dollars per fare. You go into one and you're packed in there with a bunch of other people, and then you go to a particular destination. Usually you're going into town or you're going home and they're dropping you off. You know, as along their route, they're dropping you off along their route, because there's different routes for taxis. But yeah, the taxi prices went up ridiculously, just because they could. And then another thing that also went up is housing or shelter increased significantly, and especially in the Kingston area, I will say that for sure. And it seems to be like everywhere on the island, right? And especially in places, as I said, like Kingston, that weren't very heavily impacted by the hurricane. And the thing is that I don't see the prices going down because, I mean, if we're being real, the price has never gone down for anything really, like at least not since, you know, that large, 2008 recession or something like that. The powers that be will never let that happen again unless it benefits them alone and everybody else is poor. So, you know, like if the costs go down, they are not going down significantly enough for people to be able to truly afford anything. But the reason why these cost of living increases are a problem for Jamaica and has and will change Jamaica negatively is because it impacts other things here. And the first thing I want to talk about, of the things I'm going to talk about, is people's mindsets. And I'm going to tell a story to illustrate this more clearly so that you can see what I mean. So at one point during this hurricane aftermath situation, we needed to fill our water tank and we were looking to truck in water. But when we finally, and I say we, it's my husband and I, when we finally found someone to do that, they wanted to charge like 20,000 Jamaican dollars to fill our 1,000 gallon water tank. And I thought that maybe they were potentially trying to take us for a ride because, I don't know, you know, people chat. Maybe they heard from somebody that we used to live in Canada, and you know, sometimes once people hear that, like the price automatically goes up because they think that you have money, and then they're going to want to try and extract as much of it from you as possible, thinking that you don't know better. It's not everybody, but it's enough people, and it happens very often. Anyway, the whole point is we've never had to truck in water before, right? So we were trying to get information from other people about like if this is normal, like if this is the normal price to truck in water, because like maybe it is. But again, we don't know. We don't know. You know, we asked around, nobody really knows. So I went and asked on Reddit. Now I wasn't angry or anything when I asked, like it was just like a normal post of me asking a question, asking about like what the price is for trucking water in Montego Bay. Well, what happened was someone commented and proceeded to tell me that in a crisis, no price is too high. AKA, who cares if these people are price gouging and taking advantage of you? It's worth it if pockets are lined. And then they proceeded to tell me things like I need to get out of my foreign mindset and all this foolishness. And honestly, I was both disgusted and appalled, because you would think that people would want to come together to support each other. But no, that doesn't seem to be the case. And I share this story to say that this is not the first time I have seen this mindset since Hurricane Melissa. I have continually seen, I don't know, maybe it was here before, but it has ramped up. I have continually seen like that nasty, gravelicious, disgusting mindset in people and with businesses here. But I guess, you know, from Hurricane Melissa, like this is kind of what prolonged scarcity does to people. In fact, you know, I've actually seen people say, this was on Facebook, I've seen people say that those who were impacted by Hurricane Melissa and who lost their homes should not expect the Jamaican government to help them or to build back their homes, right? The same Jamaican government that received millions in US dollar donations to do just that, right? Because that's what people donated for. They donated their money so that the Jamaican government can help these people. But there was a lot of... there are a lot of people on Facebook saying like, you don't know that the people who need help here shouldn't expect that from the government, and they need to fend for themselves. They should have thought better, etc., etc. They need to fend for themselves. They shouldn't expect the government to come and help them. And then, you know, when you talk about it, people will argue with you online, telling you that you are in the wrong for saying that people should have some mercy and some humanity because there is a literal crisis in the country. And you would think that for Jamaica, a supposedly more communal place, that this wouldn't be the case. But as I said, it's like that, you know, nasty, disgusting mindset to take advantage of people and to not help others. it is pervasive since the hurricane, and it's increasing, and the greed has spread a lot, and a lot of people somehow seem to not have an issue with it. I guess it's like that mindset of like, hey, I got mines and I'm good, so like F you and give me all your money and go fend for yourself. And as I've said, like, I've seen this nasty mindset, and I don't think that things are getting better. That has certainly reduced any thoughts I had. I don't know, positive thoughts I had or something for that. Yeah. Now the next thing I do want to talk about that this increasing cost of living impacts. The next thing I want to talk about is people's interactions, especially with those who they don't know, and especially in places that were hit very hard, because like they become, people become miserable because everything is so costly to afford, and it's difficult to get basic needs met. And or, they become extremely protective of what they do have because they can't afford replacements, right? When I guess people are in that scarcity type situation, these are the things that happen. And of course they have to become protective, I guess, when, there's that greedy mindset out there of, where some people want to take advantage or like just outright take from others, right? And I'll tell you another story to illustrate this. So my husband was driving out with some friends. It was like his car and a friend's car, and the friend's car tire popped from the bad road. Like the roads were bad from before, but then the hurricane came and just mashed up a lot, and then the roads got worse. And I guess it was one of those bad roads that they buck up into, and the tire popped. So while the tire was being fixed along the road, because my husband had some stuff in his car that could patch a tire. So while he and the guys were kind of fixing the tire along the road, a couple of them decided to walk away and go look at the sea to see how it looked, because they are fishermen, right? That's what they do. So they're like, you know what? While we're waiting, let's go look at the sea. Let's go see, because eventually we're gonna want to go spearfishing today. Let's go see what the sea looks like. And they went to go see what the sea looked like, and this lady in the area saw them and started shouting at them, shouting very loudly so that others could hear, because I guess she wanted to attract attention, and she was yelling that they were there to steal materials. And even though they explained to her, they explained to the lady, they said, no, we're not here to do that. We are fishermen. This is what happened. You can see the car, the tire pop. They are just waiting for the tire to be fixed, and they just want to go look at the water because they are fishermen. The woman didn't care. She did not care. I mean, at that point, you would think that she would have some sense to either say, okay, and watch them to see if they're lying, or just kind of, I don't know, not want to attract attention to herself, because honestly, it's a bag of men in two cars and you one lady alone. I personally would not do that for my own safety, because I don't know these people, and it's just me alone. I don't know these people. But I mean, you would at least think she would say, oh, is that the case? And then she would just watch them, but no, she did not do that. What she did instead was she told them she doesn't know them. She told them she doesn't care what they're saying, and that she hopes that crocodiles eat them, and that she was wishing ill on them, and all of this foolishness, just like very nasty behavior. Now, she did say that people were going around and stealing materials, which I understand is a concern, because remember that greedy mindset I mentioned about people wanting to take things from other people? So yeah, there have been people who have been going around, unfortunately, and they see the homes that have been blown down, they see the materials on the ground, and they have been stealing those materials to, I don't know, build back up, probably because they can't afford materials, or they use the materials and they sell them. But as I said, yeah, even after they explained to her that they weren't doing any of that, they had no interest in that, and she can clearly see, like, there's a car, and they explain, she still wished them ill anyways. So that's just to show you an example. Now, could things get better? Sure, it would be nice if they did. But when people can't afford, when they can't afford things, and they remain impoverished and without food and without, clean water and without shelter and without safety, and like they likely can't go to work because they don't have a job anymore because the hurricane mashed up the place, right? And the place is closed down. Or, they can't work anymore because they're an entrepreneur and their livelihood got mashed up due to the hurricane. they can't afford things, right? And then when that happens, a lot of people become very nasty in attitude, which is why I think that the interactions will not improve, because a lot of people are going to be in a hard situation for a long time, and hurt people hurt people. Now I do want to quickly say here, because I have my bachelor's in psychology. I got that years ago, but there was one study done that, like, I don't know, there was some study done showing that people with less tend to share more, but I think that is different. I think that that's different when there's a bunch of people impoverished. And I don't know, I feel like capitalism was different when that study was done, and it wasn't as ramped up and people weren't as greedy at that point. I feel like if they were to redo the study, they might see something different. Anyway, now, I only mention that because just in case someone comes in the comments and they're like, oh, but that study, yeah, that was a while back. That doesn't mean that it's now, and it doesn't mean that it's Jamaica, because different people act differently. And if you suddenly see like something flying in the camera, by the way, that's just like a bug somehow got in here. It's not a mosquito. It's just, I don't know, a little baby moth or something. Okay. Now, the last impact that this high cost of living has is people becoming increasingly individualistic and selfish here, right? So they're going to hoard things a lot more. They're going to have a lot more of an F you, I got mine mentality, and they're going to be less inclined to share because they are already struggling. And we kind of see this even happening in different places, like, for example, Canada. Canada does have, like, if you are, let's say, struggling for food, you can go to a food pantry, right? There are quite a few of those around. However, a lot of the food pantries have started running out of food because people are giving less. Why are they giving less? Because they need it more. They are now in a position where they don't have extra to give. They don't have the extra to give. And a lot more people are going hungry because of it. Now, going back to Jamaica, right? With me saying people are becoming more individualistic, they're less inclined to share because they're already struggling. Why all of this is happening is because, there are many governments in the world, including Jamaica's government, who have a history of not caring about their people so long as their pockets are lined. Now, I do want to say I'm not really in Jamaican politics, so I don't know for sure. I just know what I see and what I hear and what I experience. But this is not even just Jamaica. This is just across the world, and especially in capitalistic societies, in societies where capitalism is like, that's their financial, whatever, I don't know, motive, that's their system, right? And especially when it's like so forefront, you need people to be extremely impoverished in order to prop up those who have all the wealth, so that, I don't know, they can enjoy it more or something like that. The whole point is Jamaica is no different, which means people are going to be forced to fend for themselves. And when people cannot afford things and they are struggling, generally, they share less. And they certainly share less with strangers. If they're going to share with anybody, it's going to be their family, friends, loved ones. They're going to share a lot less with strangers, maybe unless they have some empathy and they might give them a can. But a lot of times they're going to need stuff for themselves and their families. But yeah, the prolonged increasing cost of I don't know if that's the right word, but the whole point is the increasing cost of living. I do not see it boding well for this country. I know that it has increased after COVID. Prices went up exponentially, and like I feel like really everywhere prices just like shot through the roof. But Jamaica was no different in that. And then after the hurricane, they went up again. And as I said before, those prices never come down. They never come down of any significance. They never come down to what they were before, unless there's something huge that happens. But again, the powers that be are not going to let that happen unless literally everyone else is impoverished except for them, so they can have their little they can enslave people pretty much. Okay, all that said, what does this mean for you? All of what I talked about with the cost of living and everything, what does this mean for you? What this means is that if you want to live here, now I'm not saying that you can't or shouldn't, because as I said in the beginning of this video, I still live here. I will probably still be here because I really can't see let me just go on a tangent a little bit. I really can't see myself anywhere else. I was talking to someone else about this today, I think so. I was talking to someone else about this too, where I was just like, where am I going to go? If I were to go somewhere else, it would be to another tropical place that's kind of like Jamaica. But then I'm going to go there for what? Like, what's the infrastructure going to be like? And then I have to learn a new language. And that, like, there's going to, you know, there's that saying, better the devil you know than the devil you don't. And that's probably one of the reasons. That's one of the many reasons. I have quite a few. That's probably one of the many reasons that I will remain here. Yeah, that is probably. And I mean, another thing is I do love Jamaica. I love Jamaica. I love the Jamaican people. Jamaica runs through my blood, quite literally. I still think that Jamaica's a beautiful country, and I feel like it can be a great place to live. It can be. But going back to what I was saying, if you're going to live here and you want to do so comfortably, right? This is why I keep talking about in my videos, you need to think about self-sustainability. I mean, unless you're rich enough not to care, unless you got it like that, right? Not to really care about all of this, and you're like, oh, that's all it is? That's it? That's nothing, right? If that's the case and none of this will impact you, hand clap to you. Good for you. My donation link is going to be in the description in case you want to share any of that with me to help me out. And then I'll also have links to other people who need some help here. So if you got it like that and you are like, hey, I have like a budget for donating, the links will be in the description. Okay. But most of us do not have it like that. For most of us, these cost of living, the cost of living increases and the impacts they have on like the people and the culture and everything, that's going to impact us. We are not going to have enough money to not care. That's going to impact us. Even if we have quite a bit of money, like, it's still going to impact us. And if you're in that boat, then yeah, this is going to impact you, right? And you might come here and see your money running out of your pocket like water, and then you're going to be in for a very hard time because things got so expensive. Which is funny. Before, I'm going on another tangent, I'm sorry, but before, it was earlier this year, I met someone as I was walking on the road with a subscriber. I had met a subscriber, and her and I, you know, we chilled out, and we were walking along the road back to her resort and met someone else at one of the other resorts. And I was telling him about how I live here, and he's like, why would you want to live here? Jamaica's expensive. Like, why? But I'm like, well, it's expensive for you. It's not expensive for me. And at the time, it wasn't that bad. It was still, the cost of living was still higher than when I had first lived here. But I was like, okay. But you see, after the hurricane, I was like, all right, so I guess if that man ever sees this, I think I eat my words there. Okay. But going back to the topic at hand, I want to talk about solutions. One solution, again, self-sustainability, which Jamaica is a great place for. Jamaica is a fantastic place for this, right? Because, like, at least if you are self-sustainable, right, like the increased cost of living won't really bother you, because then you already have your basic needs met without like constantly having to shell out money, right? And then you can be in a position to help make things better and implement some other solutions that I'm going to talk about. So like, for example, if you, you know, when I say self-sustainability, I mean, if you get solar instead of relying on JPS, instead of relying on the power company here, if you set up solar for yourself, if you have some sort of like water catchment system. Now I will say, like, the water, I don't find the water bill expensive. It's certainly less for me here. It's like half of what it was in Canada. So the water bill is not expensive here. However, you know, it can be intermittent depending on where you are. You don't have to deal with that if you are going the self-sustainable route. So solar, water. Oh, okay. Sorry for that interruption. I am having a time tonight. The little battery thing that I was using to run my ring light, that died in the middle of this. I'm gonna try and wrap this up because I don't want other things to die, because as I said, the generator is off because we still don't have electricity. I am very much looking forward to the solar. I'm not going to talk about, I just hope Jamaica will honor the exemption, the customs duty exemption for December 31st for relief items, because barrels cannot get through the wharf because the wharf is full. Jamaica Customs Agency, this is what I crashed out about. Jamaica Customs Agency has stated that they will not be honoring the exemption past the December 31st date unless the Minister of Finance says so. And if they do, they will do so publicly. That was what my crash out was about. But when I get the barrels with the solar stuff, I will definitely be looking forward to that, so I don't have to deal with all of this. Okay, going back to what I was saying, I think I was talking about self-sustainability, and if you have solar, if you have a water catchment system, if you grow your own food, stuff like that, you know, you're not gonna have to worry about constantly shelling out money. You're not gonna have to really worry about that. Because the increases, let's say to JPS and whatever, it won't really impact you. Okay, this video is getting kind of long, so I want to move on. Now, another solution to the increase in cost of living is, I guess I'll call it community, because it kind of boils down to that. Now, I did mention self-sustainability first because it's easier to think about. It's easier to think about others and help others when your needs are met, right? But for community, what I mean here is not just like getting to know people and help people and be kinder to them, but like bartering or trading. In fact, if everyone around you is self-sustainable or working on that, then it makes it easier for you to barter or trade. Like, hey, I'll do like this thing in exchange for some potatoes, you know, or I'll do X if you do Y, like things like that, right? And it is also a solution to the rising cost of living. Probably not just in Jamaica, but just like anywhere, because, you know, money isn't involved when you're trading goods and services. Everyone can exchange and trade and get their needs met and get their wants met, right? And then to top that off, you get to know people and people get to know you, and everyone becomes kinder because people get to know each other, right? Like, at least generally. And in terms of community, right? If money is involved, then people can literally come together and pay for certain things, and then everybody benefits, right? So this could look like, you know, everybody coming together in the community, everybody putting in a little so that there's a place to get, you know, so that there's solar or there's a place to get power or something like that. Or if everybody chips in enough, everybody can get some sort of solar something in their home, like a portable generator or something, not generator, the portable power station, right? Or, you know, if someone already has a Starlink in the community, then everyone can chip in a small amount and everybody can use the internet, right? And that's what we are actually doing right now still, because, you know, that's the reason I'm connected to y'all, generator and Starlink. So we charge a small amount, literally like 100 Jamaican dollars, and people can use 100 Jamaican dollars per device per day, and people can use our internet. But, you know, like, it's not just that. We've had like friends do things for us, and then in exchange, we pay their phone bill, or we cook food and give them food, or like my husband catches fish and then gives them some fish, or we help them with something, right? Like, it makes life easier, simpler, and it also like gets back in touch with that communal aspect that Jamaica was more known for in the past. And I think that, you know, self-sustainability and community are the things that can fight back against the cost of living increasing and against the negative impacts that come along with it. At least that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm going to be doing, because I live here, right? And I plan to keep living here. I love Jamaica. I want to see it get better. And since I'm living here with everybody else who is living here, we got to live. We got to do something. We can't just like, pop, pop, like, the punching is the high cost of living and other negative things. We can't just like have these things punching us down, down, down. We need to live. We live here. We need to live. We got to do something. So this is what I'm going to be doing. Long video, but that is it from me today. So I hope that you found this helpful or informative, or at least entertaining. If you did, do let me know by hitting that like button. But I also do want to hear from you, okay? In terms of cost of living, the increase in cost of living, what solutions do you also think could be helpful? You know, what do you think about what I just shared in this video? From all the negative stuff to the solutions. I'd really love to know your thoughts. In the meantime, I got some freebies that you may find helpful. The links for that will be in the description. If you are planning to move to Jamaica, I have a whole moving to Jamaica starter guide. It's complete, but I am planning to add to it because I've experienced newer things. I'm like, okay, this is information that if you are planning to move here, you really, really need to know. Like this stuff, and like the solar stuff, and like the other hurricane stuff I was talking about, you know. So if you're interested in that and you haven't gotten your copy yet, the link will be in the description and in the comments. And if you have gotten your copy, anytime I update the guide, you also automatically get an update. You just have to look for, there's a specific subject line that says like your order something has been updated or something like that. You'll get an update via email. Okay, in the meantime, I do appreciate you being here. If you like this video, do subscribe so that you don't miss what's coming next. And I'll see you in the next one.